Alright, so OnePlus just dropped something that genuinely caught me off guard, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on this one. This is the OnePlus Ace 6 Ultra, and when you actually sit down and look at what this phone is packing, especially for the price it is asking, it becomes really hard to ignore. We are talking about a phone released at the end of April 2026, and it is coming in swinging with specs that would make flagship killers from just 2 years ago look absolutely outdated. So today we are breaking down everything you need to know about this device, whether it is worth your money, and where OnePlus actually made the right calls and where they maybe left a little on the table. Before we get into it, if you are new here and you love honest tech content with no sugarcoating, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and hit the like button right now. It genuinely helps the channel grow and means we can keep covering phones like this one. Alright, let us get into it. So first things first, let us talk about the design and build, because this is the first thing you are going to notice when you pick this phone up. The Ace 6 Ultra is coming in at 162.5 by 77.5 millimeters with an 8.5 millimeter thickness, and it weighs around 217 to 219 grams depending on which back option you go with. Now, that is not a featherweight phone by any means, but it does not feel unnecessarily chunky either. What I really appreciate here is the build quality. You have got crystal shield glass on the front, and on the back you are getting either a glass finish or an eco-leather silicone polymer option. The eco-leather back in particular feels incredibly premium in hand. It has that texture that just makes the phone grippy and satisfying to hold without a case. The aluminum frame ties everything together nicely and gives it that solid, dense feel that signals quality the second you pick it up. And then there is the IP68 and IP69K rating. Now, most phones stop at IP68, which means it can handle submersion up to 1.5 meters for about 30 minutes, but OnePlus went further here and added IP69K on top of that. That means this thing can handle high-pressure water jets. We are talking about actual resistance to powerful sprays, not just accidental drops in water. For a phone in this price range, that level of protection is genuinely impressive, and it tells you OnePlus is serious about making this device last in the real world. Now let us talk about that display, because this is where I think the Ace 6 Ultra really starts to flex. You are looking at a 6.78-inch AMOLED panel running at 1272 by 2772 pixels, which gives you about 450 pixels per inch. That screen is sharp, period. Colors pop, text is crisp, and everything just looks incredibly detailed. The panel supports a 165 Hz refresh rate, which means scrolling feels like butter. It is one of those things you do not fully appreciate until you go back to a 60 Hz display and suddenly everything feels like a slideshow. The display also supports Dolby Vision, HDR10+, and HDR Vivid, which means streaming content from your favorite platforms is going to look phenomenal. Brightness tops out at 1800 nits in high brightness mode, which is more than enough to see clearly even in direct sunlight. OnePlus also baked in PWM dimming, which is great news for people who are sensitive to screen flicker at low brightness levels. Honestly, the display here is flagship tier, full stop. Okay, and now we get to the thing that is probably going to generate the most conversation around this phone, and that is the chipset. OnePlus went with the MediaTek Dimensity 9500 built on a 3nm process. This is a seriously powerful chip, and it is paired with up to 16 GB of RAM and up to 1 TB of internal storage using UFS 4.1, which is the fastest storage standard you can get on a smartphone right now. The Dimensity 9500 features a main core clocking at 4.21 GHz, which is an absolute monster for processing intense tasks, gaming, video editing, anything you throw at it. The GPU is the Mali G1 Ultra, and it handles graphics workloads beautifully. If you have been on the fence about Dimensity chips, the 9500 generation is the one that should erase any doubts. This is not a compromise. This is a genuine flagship performance package. Hey, real quick, if you are finding this breakdown helpful, drop a like on the video. It literally takes 1 second, and it tells the algorithm that people are actually enjoying this content, which helps us out more than you know. Back to the phone. So cameras. The Ace 6 Ultra has a dual camera system on the back led by a 50-megapixel main shooter with an f1.8 aperture, a 23mm wide-angle equivalent, a 1/1.55-inch sensor size, phase detection autofocus, and optical image stabilization. That sensor size is solid, and combined with OIS and PDAF you are getting fast, reliable focusing and stable shots even when you are moving around. The second camera is an 8-megapixel ultra-wide at a 16mm equivalent with a 112-degree field of view. Video goes up to 4K at 60 frames per second, which is exactly what you want for content creation. On the front, you have a 16-megapixel selfie shooter that handles 1080p video with Euro EIS for stabilization. Now, some people will raise an eyebrow at only 2 cameras on the back, but I would rather have 2 good cameras than 3 mediocre ones. And based on what OnePlus has done with their camera processing in recent years, I expect real-world shots to perform well. Now, the part that genuinely blew me away and honestly might be the headline spec of this entire phone is the battery. The Ace 6 Ultra is carrying an 8,600 mAh silicon carbon battery. Let that sink in for a second. 8,600 mAh. That is the kind of battery capacity you usually find in tablets, not in a sleek 8.5mm thin smartphone. And OnePlus is not cutting corners on the charging either. You get 120-watt wired charging, which can hit 53% charge in just 22 minutes. So even if you do somehow manage to drain this thing, you can top it up insanely fast. There is also support for UFCS at 44 or 120 watts, 55-watt PPS, and 13.5-watt PD. The battery life story here should be absolutely phenomenal, and for anyone who has ever gotten to that dreaded low battery warning in the middle of the day, this phone is basically the cure. On the connectivity side, you are getting all the modern essentials. Wi-Fi 7 support, Bluetooth 6.0, NFC for contactless payments, an infrared port which is surprisingly handy for controlling TVs and other appliances, and a full suite of GPS systems including GPS, Galileo, GLONASS, NavIC, BDS, and QZSS. That multiband GPS is going to be incredibly accurate for navigation. The phone runs Android 16 out of the box with ColorOS 16 on top. Biometrics are handled by an ultrasonic under-display fingerprint sensor, which is both fast and accurate. Stereo speakers round out the package for media consumption. The only things missing are a 3.5mm headphone jack and a memory card slot, which are fairly standard omissions at this point, but worth noting. So who is the OnePlus Ace 6 Ultra actually for? It is for the person who wants flagship-level performance without paying flagship prices. It is for someone who cares deeply about battery life and charging speeds. It is for a tech enthusiast who wants a beautiful display, a capable camera system, a premium build, and military-grade water resistance all in one package for around 440 euros. The value proposition here is genuinely difficult to argue with. OnePlus has clearly matured as a brand, and the Ace 6 Ultra is proof that they know exactly how to put together a compelling device that punches way above its weight class. This is one of those phones that makes you stop and think about why you would spend double the price on something else when this exists. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay on top of the latest tech releases, reviews, and comparisons, make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video. Your support is what keeps this channel alive and lets us bring you content like this every single week. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think about the OnePlus Ace 6 Ultra and whether you are considering picking one up. I will catch you in the next one.